Hey, welcome to another edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Derling. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. This one's about a book, it's about a movie, and it's about an album too, all with the same name. Of course, I'm talking about Motley Crue, The Dirt. Now, I've been a Motley Crue fan for a long time. They were never one of my favorite bands, but I've always liked them. And there's a resurgence, of course, because of the movie, the Netflix film, The Dirt. And anytime one of the bands I like from the 80s gets a resurgence in the modern era, I'm all on board with that. I think that's fantastic. So I know it's been out for a long time now. First thing I want to talk about, though, is the first thing that came out, which was the book, the autobiography. It came out back in 2001. I got it when it first came out, hardcover edition. Motley Crue, The Dirt, Confessions of the World's Most Notorious Rock Band, written with Neil Strauss, with input from all of the original members of Motley Crue, and then some. And I'll tell you, this, the best way I can describe it, I can't do better than Joe Levy, the music editor from Rolling Stone at the time, that said, "Be warned, after reading this book, you will never feel clean again. The dirt does not wash off." This book could be best described as harrowing. I read it and I went through it in no time at all. It was a page turner. Couldn't put it down. Every story was more out there and depraved or crazy, or sometimes very sad, tragic, funny. It's got a little bit of everything in it. This, of course, chronicles their, early years, rise to fame, and, winding things up all the way to the present time, at the time, which was in 2001. And it's got input from various people that knew them, managers, record company people. It's a great book. It's a great read. And it was just begging to be made into a film. And it had been rumored that they were going to do just that for many, many years. It was sort of in, I don't know if they'd call it development hell, when a movie just, it sits there, and problems with studios and actors and whatnot. But finally, they made a deal with Netflix to get the movie made. Now, I will say this, if you haven't seen the movie, if you've got younger kids that like older music, I think that's great. Like young kids, do not watch this movie with them. That's, as a parent, I'm telling you, it's explicit. It's very explicit. It's not a sanitized, it's not Bohemian Rhapsody. Well, it's not Bohemian Rhapsody for a lot of reasons. Bohemian Rhapsody is pretty much, PG-13. This is a hard, well, it's R. Might even be a hard R. There's, I'll just leave it at that. Listen, I enjoyed the movie. I did enjoy the movie, but where the book is a really great book, hard to put down, stays with you, the anecdotes that you read in it, and you pick it up again and again and read it. This was a good rock and roll movie. It was no Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, that to me, that's just on another level. But it's good, and I think that they did a pretty good job of getting the right actors to play the band members. And I don't have their names right in front of me. I really, really don't. And I should have. But I will say that, I know Douglas Booth is the name of the guy that plays Nicky. He does a good job. Nicky's so unique. He has such a unique character of speaking that it was hard to duplicate. But he did a good job. The guy from Game of Thrones that plays Mick was probably my favorite. I just got a kick out of him. He didn't necessarily look like Mick, but he had the attitude down. I can't think of the guy's name that played Vince. He was decent enough, but I have to say that Machine Gun Kelly, who played Tommy Lee, he became Tommy Lee. He did a great job playing Tommy. He got his personality, his attitude, the way he moved, the way he laughed, everything. He got it right down pat. Now this movie, a lot of people said that Bohemian Rhapsody played with the timeline. Look, this movie has a field day with the timelines. It just plays a lot with the timeline to get it all into one movie. I think they could have made a mini-series out of it. And I'm not really slagging the movie because it's like, when's the last time I made a movie? I don't count these. So it was decent enough. I just think it could have been a little better, but for what it was, it's entertaining. And of course, with that movie, they did a soundtrack to it. And I'll show you what that is all about. Let's first show you the slipcase. So there's a picture, if you haven't seen it, that's a picture of the guys that play the Crue. You can easily tell who's playing who. I like the fact they're using the earliest Motley Crue logo too. This is on 11/7 Music, which has put out the last few Motley Crue and the 6 a.m. albums as well. This has, it's essentially a best of Motley Crue from the 80s with 4 new songs, newly written songs. I don't think they're touring anymore. They signed that contract, but they did put together some new songs. So that's the slipcase. The actual CD cover, as you'll see, is the book cover, matches the book cover. But again, it's using the old Motley logo, which I like. And there's lyrics to all the songs in here, so some photos, and it mixes photos of the band with the guys that are portraying them. So, did a really good job. One of my favorite parts is the end of the movie where they're showing the side-by-side comparisons to just how well they did, especially when they're doing the Looks That Kill video. So this has 4 new songs. The first song on here is the title song, The Dirt, and it came out, technically it's The Dirt, established 1981, featuring Machine Gun Kelly. And when I first heard this, it was before I knew anything really about the movie other than it was based on the book. I didn't realize that Machine Gun Kelly played Tommy Lee, so it seemed strange to me that there was a slight, it's not hardcore rap in here, but it's a very old school rap. You can understand what he's saying. But I'll let that slide. So then they tack the next 3 songs, new songs on the end. Ride with the Devil is basically, it references a lot of older Crue songs, and then Crash and Burn. Both of them are decent, Motley Crue songs. They're newly written. It's good to hear some new stuff from them. I don't like either of them, I think, as well as The Dirt. And then the final song. Now this threw me off. I thought it was a joke. They covered Like a Virgin, like Madonna's Like a Virgin. And sometimes a band will cover a song that's way out of the blue, and I say, well, that seems strange. And then you hear it and you're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. I've tried to get into it. I just can't. It's just too iconic. A pop song from the 80s, so identifiable that the only way I'd enjoy it is if the original hadn't existed, if you know what I mean. It's just, maybe it'll grow on me, I'm not sure. As far as the rest of it, it's very heavy on early stuff from Too Fast for Love and Shout at the Devil. Now I will say, so there's Red Hot, Shout at the Devil, Looks to Kill, Too Young to Fall in Love. So it's 4 songs from Shout at the Devil. It's got On with the Show, Live Wire, Merry Go Round, Take Me to the Top, and Piece of Your Action. So 5 from Too Fast for Love. So that eats up a lot of the album. Only 1 is Home Sweet Home from Theater of Pain. I mean, I understand why they didn't put Smoking in the Boys Room on here, because they'd have to pay royalties. Granted, they must be paying royalties to Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly for covering Like a Virgin. Girls, Girls, Girls is on here. They didn't put Wild Side on here. I wish they had. That's one of my favorite Motley Crue songs. Would have fit right in. Because the movie kind of takes a jump from like the turn of the 90s all the way up to 2015. It ends with Dr. Feelgood material. So it's got Kickstart My Heart, Dr. Feelgood, and Same Old Situations. If I was going to add 2 songs to this, or take a couple out, I would have put in Wild Side, and then the early days. I'm pretty sure they play part of it in the movie. One of my favorite Motley Crue songs is Toast of the Town. How it got left off Too Fast for Love is beyond me. I think that's a fantastic song. It could have been a hit, but it would have been nice to give that a little bit more attention on this soundtrack. So here's the CD itself. I stuck the hype sticker. I used to save all my hype stickers, but stuck it on the jewel case. Glad it's actually in a jewel case. There's the disc itself. Those are pages from the actual Dirt book. And on the back here, another shot here. So yeah, if you're a Crue fan, you want to pick. It's worth picking up, and it's a compilation. But there are 4 new songs on here. And do any of you out there like their version of Like a Virgin? I'm curious about that. And what did you think of the movie? And what did you think of the book? This is just what I think of it. So that's my take on Motley Crue's The Dirt, the book, the movie, and the soundtrack. Thank you for watching Tim's Final Confessions. Hey, welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Derling. Thank you for watching this episode. On this episode, it's about a book, it's about a movie, and it's about an album. It's a little bit, and they're all the same title. It's a Motley Crue themed episode, and I will admit, I mean, I like Motley Crue. I've been a fan, for a long, long time. They were never one of my ultimate favorites, But there's a huge resurgence right now in popularity for their music, and anytime, you know, one of the bands I like from the 80s gets their shot at becoming popular in the modern era, I'm cool with that. Now the reason, of course, is that they had their movie The Dirt, based on their autobiography, made on Netflix, and well, that sucked.